I want to talk about your books because I want to talk it from two perspectives. I didn't see this coming from you. And I don't know if it was spurred on because of lockdown. I read some stories about that and you had some time. In retrospect, it doesn't seem surprising, Chris, but I wanted to ask you two questions. How did this journey of you writing fiction begin? And also, what can you tell all the tough guys out there, the former fighter pilots and Navy SEALs and guys out there who aren't in touch with their creative side, don't allow themselves to have this creative side, are scared of failing when they express themselves? I'm just curious, is that something that you get asked about as well? Because a lot of people don't expect people like you to do these expressive things. So there you go.
Part of it is what do you do with your life's experience? All the things that you learned in your life this far, studying mech eng at MIT and all the people that you've met and what has fascinated you and what has frustrated you, what has pissed you off, what makes you want to do things differently. What do you do with those urges in your life? Do you just keep it to yourself? Do you just gripe about it, on Twitter? Do you go to the bar and gripe about it to your friends? What do you do with it? And I have been the lucky recipient of some incredible life experiences, intercepting Soviet armed bombers during the height of the Cold War, or testing airplanes right to the edge of their capability to try and make airplanes ever and ever more functional and useful to us, or walking in space, going outside of a spaceship and going through the world's aurora and having the greens and the reds of the northern and southern lights ripple around my body as I'm outside on a spaceship. What do you do with those experiences? Kind of a question we all sort of face. And what I've always thought, well, my wife and I, we've been together most of our lives, have always thought is you need to find a way to continually be creative and to build on the things that you've learned so far in order to do stuff that you didn't used to be capable of doing. How can I take all of this raw material of my life and learnings to this point and turn it into something that is delightful and interesting to me, and maybe is useful and thought-provoking and helpful to other people. As a government servant, I worked for the government for 35 years in service in the military and as an astronaut. I also feel a great responsibility. I was one of the incredibly privileged few who got trusted to go do those things. And if I just choose to do nothing with it now, just to go, that was interesting, I feel like I've let down the side. I feel like I've squandered it. I feel like they chose the wrong person. If I'm not helping a young person now who's making those early life decisions, if they can't benefit from the experiences that I've had, then I've let them down. And so I'm always looking for ways to explain to myself what's useful out of what I know and then share it with other people if I possibly can, in amongst just the conducting of my normal life. So writing my first book, Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth, that was sort of a compendium of 25 years of working as a fighter pilot and an astronaut. What did I learn and how did I do it that allowed me to do those things? And maybe other people could use some of those ideas to shape their own decisions and their own lives and do things that they're dreaming of. And then I did a book of imagery, You Are Here, because to have taken all those pictures of the world and not share them properly, again, would have been a waste. And then I did a children's book on how not to be afraid, because it's not just fear that forces adults into a life's corner or a decisional corner where you deny yourself a huge part of life because you just say to yourself, I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of whatever, flying, getting married, walking in the woods, something. Every time you give in to an irrational fear, you have just denied yourself a completeness of life's experience. And that's important for kids as well. And that's why I wrote The Darkest Dark. But once I'd done those are nonfiction to a large degree. But fiction now allows you to address some of the same ideas, But now with the freedom of looking at it from all your different characters' point of view, how did my main protagonist, how did Kaz see this thing? And then how did his counterpart, Svetlana, how did she see this? And then how did everybody else perceive this? And how did they react? As a reader, you can maybe get a better sense of how things happen when they're described through fiction, like Star Trek, as opposed to just someone giving you a Feynman lecture or something, which is interesting in its own, but it's a whole different way to tell the same story or to extrapolate the same story. And so in writing the Apollo murders, one of my publishers, the publisher I love the best out of all the ones I worked with, he came with the germ of an idea. And he actually came with kind of a sweetheart of a deal. Here's the germ of an idea. Here's what I'm thinking about it. I don't really have a deadline for you, and I'm willing to advance you some money. Do you want to do it? And it's kind of like every author dreams of that, like, really, you're going to give me some money and no deadline, and I already have an idea? And that was the genesis of the Apollo murders. Came from John Butler at Quercus Books. But getting things started and getting things finished is a whole different game. And so it was a long process of learning how to write thriller fiction, of how I was going to put it all together, doing it on my own, but obviously with really good editors and advice of a lot of people. And now I just love it. I mean, it's so liberating to be able to take everything that I've learned to this point and a constant new learning journey and put it into a work of creative, art of its own, of fiction, so that other people can be inspired and start imagining things that otherwise they never would have known. And the characters that I created, have a life of their own now. They're real to me, like Spock or like Kirk is real to me. And what else would have happened to them, and what else can I learn? And when you write alternative history fiction, you're like this archive detective and trying to weed out really interesting stories in what truly happened. And this book, The Apollo Murders, and then the new one, The Defector, they're about 95% true. They're real things, real characters. Over half the characters in both of them are real people. And yet there's room in there for imagination and plot. And I'm just delighted that this is one of the ways, in amongst the music and all the technical companies I work in and the university I teach at and everything else, that this is a way for self-expression, but also for sharing of some of the amazing experiences that I've had in life so far.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm gonna tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline.
I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up.
If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you gonna do? What's the choice that you're going to make?